Hello and welcome to the Monday Macro View Show. This is Osama Rizvi from Primary Vision Network. Today, I want to talk to you about Pakistan in particular. I just did a LinkedIn post about it as well. And why do I focus on Pakistan? Of course, first of all, I did that as where I live right now, but also because this country, or like Sri Lanka, what is happening or what happened in Ghana, these countries are unfortunately textbook examples of the effects of global monetary tightening, congested or disrupted rather supply chains, and the post-COVID, post-Ukrainian war sort of scenario in the world. And how do the policy levers, how have the policy levers after these events and incidents continue to affect in a highly disproportionate manner the developing part of the world? Of course, we might be, but the world is a complex system, and these nodes might not carry a lot of influence, significance, but this goes on to show that behind these facts and figures, real people are suffering. And I would go on to say that there is a potential that such little changes can trigger off big changes, as explained by Adam Tooze in his book, The Shutdown. The induction effect, the magnifying effect, the convergence effect, such little changes can really turn out to be something big, and we don't even know. So let's just dive right in. You can see here, first of all, I'll start with what's happening internationally. So I have always maintained that the US-China trade war, because it has not ended, and we need to understand that something that is going on, just like Russia-Ukrainian war, even if there is a lull, it doesn't mean it is over. So the possibility of escalation is still present. Therefore, this recent news by the US, seeking support from allies to put sanctions on China over Ukraine, as it provided lethal support to Russia, that is quite concerning. This is also concerning because this is happening when, you can see the slide here, when US is targeting about a dozen of Chinese companies, about 28 Chinese companies on trade restrictions because they allegedly breached the US sanctions by selling technology of nuclear and missile program nature to countries that weren't supposed to get it. And this is also happening. This has also actually brought a problem from Pakistan and other countries, Myanmar, and then there was the recent spy balloon incident. Excuse me. So all of this shows you that in the back something is brewing up. So why do we take into account the outlooks for the global economic recovery? We need to be certain of the things happening in what are called the tail risks. So this is one of the tail risks. Not so very much. I mean, I think it's moving towards the mainstream now, but it remains as such. Something about the global inflation and other things. So real wage growth, as you can see, remains very, very low. So the potential of, a wage pressure building up remains there. And I believe this should be the case. Wages should match the cost of living. But among other things, this raises the question that if this orange line starts to move up, what will happen to defense policies and other things? That is a very important question. Speaking of Fed deluge of inflation, that has pushed U.S. borrowing cost to 2000 levels. You can see that the treasury yields are in the news once again. The yield of 2-year treasury hit 4.94%, about 5%, a level that was last seen in 2007, just before the global financial crisis. Yield on the 10 and 30 years have also broken the 4% 4% mark, first time since November. This isn't looking great, by the way. Coming to Pakistan now. In Pakistan, inflation came out at 32%, around 32%. You can see on the right-hand side that the food and housing and clothing in this order, especially the food, this food had about 35% increase in this figure. To remind, but an average household in Pakistan spends around 50.8%, about 51%, on basic food items. And this is not, this is especially when you haven't taken into account the recent, let's say, 415% increase in onions, which is a very important ingredient for every household in making any curry or stew or anything, other basic food items. So what is happening in Pakistan is that there is global monetary policy tightening. The interest rates in Pakistan actually hit 20%, the highest ever. It has definitely curtailed business activity. And all of this is building pressure not only on the political side, but also on the social side, as we see more crimes rising, more unrest happening, and the country is right now going through a political crisis as well. Not a very ideal time to choose it, but that is how it is. Weekly inflation, the SPI index, the sensitive price index, it came out at 41%. And it is interesting to know what Steve Hanke at Johns Hopkins University says. He says that this isn't the true this does not depict the true increase in prices. So he says that inflation is somewhere about 67%. And if you ask me or others around me, I think that seems more true, closer to the reality. Just before we jump on the market sentiment tracker, this is what's happening in the oil market as well. I'll do a separate show on oil markets actually. So the Indian and Chinese oil markets are benefiting from what's happening with Russia. Russian actually oil and gas revenues fell about 46% year-on-year basis. So it seems the sanctions might be doing their work, but more on that later on. It's not as simple as it seems. However, India is benefiting. It's sending fuel and other refined products to Europe as well, to the US as well. There was a very interesting article regarding this. So this is something you need to keep an eye on. Finally, the market sentiment tracker. A lot of things happening on the left side or the recessionary side. So, the strategists are saying that there is no possibility that we have a soft landing, and there have to be a hard landing to if we want to reduce the interest rates 2%. Developing countries continues to face further pressure. US interest rates can high, according to one study, around 6%, 5.75% in 2023. I think this seems reasonable. Interest rates in Germany may hit 15 years high. Germany's central bank saying the inflation will remain stubbornly high in the coming days, in the coming months. US activity is still soft. Chinese GDP target was also reduced down a little bit. But on the other hand, a little bit on the recovery side, Eurozone economic data was a little promising. It showed some expansion. Eurozone inflation also softened to 8.5%, but the 8.5% is also quite high. Chinese factory data has improved a little bit. The energy, especially when China has reduced its GDP, that is sort of showing a quite positive outlook in terms of European energy crisis, as the energy demand, energy prices might not hit the levels as we were previously assuming. So that's all from my side today. We'll see you next Monday. Until then, thank you so much.